What does it take to prank call a prince? You're going to find out. It's being reported that Russian hoaxers fooled Prince Harry into believing he was talking privately to climate activist Greta Thunberg and her father. So they've released the audio of Harry speaking openly, among things, of his distaste for Donald Trump and his decision to leave royal life. So it's an interesting listen. The question that we're sort of starting with, like, what was your reaction to this? But also, is this type of hoax ethical?
Okay, let's go to social media. Let's go to our audience. Deborah on Twitter says, completely unethical. I'm not sure how well Harry knows Greta, and I understand he thought it was a private call, but I'm surprised he spoke so candidly about his family to anyone other than a really close friend.
You know what? I tend to agree with Deborah, because I don't think all hoaxes are created equally. If it's just, some random person, that's one thing. But when you're dealing with someone who has influence on a global level, and they're talking about global leaders and all sorts of things that could, make relationships interesting, a la Donald Trump and, say, the UK or anything else, I think it matters. I do.
Even though he's not a politician himself.
Even though he's got influence. He's got influence.
I mean, I'm just thinking about that kind of context because I was thinking about what Sacha Baron Cohen did. Remember, I mean, he's like sort of this professional comedian hoaxer. He's made a brand of duping people into thinking that he's these characters.
Including politicians.
And especially politicians. His most recent series, Who is America, he donned like this. That's him on the I don't know which side I'm looking at.
Right,
but on the far right, Dick Cheney's beside him. But so he had prosthetics, he had makeup, he was pretending to be these characters, and he was eliciting these responses both from the left and the right. He did Sarah Palin. He had one interview
but those people knew that they were on camera.
They did know they were on camera for sure, and that does make a difference.
Yeah. And Sacha Baron Cohen isn't a global leader.
No,
right?
but they are.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
something.
Harry and then the people he's talking to, because the things that Harry says can influence things and influence people, right? And relationships. We're talking international relationships.
Let's go one step further, because I think you're absolutely right, Marcy. These pranksters, these are two Russian pranksters. P.S. These two reportedly have ties to Russian security forces. So you are absolutely right. Who they're pranking, what they're doing, what they're saying, the information they're eliciting from who they're pranking matters. But these guys are good. They have already pranked Senator Lindsey Graham. He was talking about Kurds and Russians and war with Syria. They also pranked Bernie Sanders. They also had a 20-minute call with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson about world affairs. So when you talk about what could happen, they were pretending to be the Prime Minister of Armenia in one case. They were pretending to be the Defense Minister of Turkey in another case. They were actually eliciting real
And where does that information go if they're that connected?
And even though I don't think Prince Harry is that level, for sure, he is influential, what this story says to me is, when you leave the royal family, you also are leaving behind the mechanisms that protect you from people like this.
Okay,
and Prince Harry and Meghan, the timing of these calls is interesting. The first call that was done was December the 31st. The second call was done on January 22nd. Do you know when they announced that they were leaving the royal family? January the 8th. All of this was happening at a time that they were actually taking big steps away from the family. And there are firewalls and protections and verifications and security. They got Harry on his landline in his Canadian home. I don't know how they got that phone number, but if he was in the UK, they wouldn't have called him at home. Let's just put it that way. So my worry for them is this is showing their vulnerabilities as they are leaving behind this firm to protect themselves from people like these guys.
Or maybe this won't happen anymore because they have left the firm and people aren't selling them out in the firm anymore. I mean, there's two ways to look at the conspiracy, right?
Oh, you think someone leaked?
Well, there have been lots of leaks. And those leaks are coming from inside the palace. They have very, very notoriety. It has been out there that there have been palace aides who don't agree with Harry and Meghan and who have not been supportive of them, who have been leaking to the very publications that Harry and Meghan are suing. One of them is the one that broke the story yesterday. And so I wonder whether or not conspiracy or convenience or whatever, whether or not someone from the inside sold them out. And now that they've left the family, they can contain the story.
Okay, but just like, is this, I'm not saying that this is ethical, because I don't think necessarily it is. I don't think these guys are professional professional comedians, it seems like they might have nefarious means, but or interests. Did this do any? Like they didn't. Harry didn't say anything. He wasn't like talking about the Queen's sex life, or he wasn't like. He basically was just like he didn't say anything that
groundbreaking.
He did say that Donald Trump had blood on his hands, right?
Well,
He did say that.
But he was talking about the coal industry, and he was talking about climate,
and all of that, and climate change, and everything else. I mean, that. Saying that is not going to make someone like Trump happy.
No,
and
okay.
his administration happy.
Lots of things don't make Trump happy.
And we see what he does.
Right.
We see what he does when he's not happy. Yeah.